What a crazy fight. Max Holloway knocks out the Korean Zombie in the third round, getting his first KO win since 2014 when he fought Akira Korisani, and the Korean Zombie went zombie mode for the last time. He went out there trying to knock Max out, brought out an exciting fight, did it way better than a lot of us expected. And it just goes to show you that there are levels to this game. The reason why the Korean Zombie didn't look so good in this last fight, yes, he is older, yes, he's out of his prime, but he was fighting Volkanovski. He performed much better against Max than he did against Volk, even though on paper, he should actually have a better time against Volk than Max. On paper because of their styles and their heights and attributes and everything, but he did better against Max, and it goes to show you that Volkanovski is just that much better than everybody else. But Max still looked amazing in this fight. Beautiful work from him. Even with all this stuff going on at home, gotta feel for the people in Hawaii. He still came out there and performed professionally, brutalizing the Korean Zombie. Dropped him once before the knockout, hurt him a few times. Had a lot of great moments, and Korean Zombie had a few moments for himself too, who retired after the fight. So that was the last time we saw Korean Zombie in the cage. We'll love to see him in the Hall of Fame. Very few come into the octagon as exciting as he is. And at the end of the day, we just saw two featherweight legends throw down. What an exciting fight, man. And you saw a lot of respect for the Korean Zombie from Max. Max gave him a lot of admiration. And I do believe in that second round where he dropped the Korean Zombie and didn't follow up with any more punches, that was the time where he showed him a bit of mercy. Because he dropped the Korean Zombie, did not land any more punches, and tried to choke him out the anaconda choke instead of giving him more head trauma. And we know for a fact he would have not have done this against Alexander Volkanovski. If he dropped Volk like this, he would be following up with punches. But because it's the Korean Zombie, I think he just tried to hold off a bit. You know, we all thought that Max would probably do something like this in the fight, and it did show. He was clearly the superior fighter. He was clearly ahead. He was so comfortable and confident in front of the Korean Zombie. He was hoping the Zombie would stay down. But zombies are hard to kill, man. So firstly, what I want to talk about is that last insane zombie flurry. So the Korean Zombie threw 24 total strikes, almost all power shots, at Max Holloway before he getting hit by that big right overhand that KO'd him. And only 6 of those punches landed on Holloway. Half of them were just partial shots grazing. That is how insane the defense of Max Holloway is. We were all mesmerized by the craziness that Korean Zombie brought to him in the beginning of that third round, but we did not look at how insane Max's defense was. So the Korean Zombie comes out open hands, ready to cause some chaos. He tried to go to war with the guy that you never want to go to war with. As Max has shown many times throughout his career, you just cannot beat him in these kind of brawls. But for his last showcase, Korean Zombie is going to try it. He comes out with a winging left hook, as Max always has that right hand up. His natural stance has that right hand up ready to block a left hook, which he does very easily. And then the Korean Zombie comes over the other side with an overhand as Max throws in a jab to intercept him, but the overhand does get partially blocked as it hits the shoulder but still able to go around it, catching Max. And here's a familiar combination from the Korean Zombie that you'll see later in the breakdown that he threw many times throughout the fight that actually was his best combo to land on Max Holloway. The right overhand into a darting, shifting left. But this time, he missed the punch as Max very slightly rotated his body to his own left with that right guard up. The second of the 6 punches that landed for the Korean Zombie was this short right hook right over the guard. He didn't really put any power into the punch, but does throw power into this left hook. Weird how he's throwing a lot of power with the left hook instead of the right hand, knowing how Max always has that right guard up. But Max was able to shift backwards, switch stances away, evading the punch with his guard up. The open hands again, Korean Zombie's ready to continue. Max throws a left hook which gets blocked by the Korean Zombie, who returns with one of his own as Max brings his right hand up to his head again and leans away. But it was only a setup. He fakes the right hand after. I thought he was going to throw it, but he uses that to fake out Max to throw another left hook, which misses target. He throws a jab before stepping, so it's actually kind of backwards. He didn't step with the jab, he steps after the jab. And the reason why he did this is because he's already in range to connect with the jab if Max doesn't defend it. But Max's defense was on point. With his hands up, he slips on the inside of the jab, and he doesn't use hip movement. It's all in the legs. He leans to his left side while stepping backwards with his right foot, knowing that the Korean Zombie is going to come forward. And that allows him to pull back away from the Korean Zombie's right hand that he was looking to knock Max out with, and checks him with the left hook. Beautiful counter shot from Max Holloway. And you could just see from all the overextension from the Korean Zombie, he doesn't care about his defense at all. He's looking to knock Max out, knowing that he lost the first 2 rounds, knowing that he is behind. Knowing that he's probably not going to win the fight in a decision, he has to make something happen. So he throws an awkward left hook while switching into the southpaw stance. There is no extension in this punch at all, but Max still brings that right hand up ready to defend it, leans into the cage, and rebounds off of it. He bounces off the fence, forward and to his own left, under the Korean Zombie's southpaw right hook, and almost lands with the right hand in the inside. It goes under the chin, lands toward the chest. But beautiful defense from Max Holloway avoided all of those punches. The Korean Zombie throws another very awkward left hammer fist, hitting Max's right trap, and Max counters him with a jab, sending him back a bit, creating some breathing space here. Open hands again, you know the Korean Zombie's ready to continue. They both throw right hands at each other, but the difference is Max ducks, knowing that Korean Zombie's throwing hooks, not necessarily uppercuts or straight punches that much, and the Korean Zombie doesn't care what Max is throwing, he's going to deliver offense. So he naturally moves his head to the left as he's throwing a right hook. And this collision allows Max Holloway to duck under the punch as he grazes with that right overhand. Now here's the third punch the Korean Zombie lands in this crazy flurry. As Max is trying to retract his stance, get back to where he was and move away from the Korean Zombie, he gets caught by a left hook. This was a clean punch, but as you know from the legendary Hawaiian chin, he's able to take it and throw a left hand of his own while he's backing away, slightly connecting with his forearm. The Korean Zombie tries to deliver with his own right overhand, trying to catch Max on the exit, but Max was able to get his head on the inside of the punch, slightly gaining touch by the forearm, as he throws his own left hand, which goes behind Korean Zombie's head. Then he throws a left hook that misses, gets around Max, doesn't connect, and Max is also blocking so the forearm doesn't connect either. And here's an interesting one. So they get into the clinch from there, and Korean Zombie throws a right uppercut, but notice how Max turns his head with the punch. You can even see it way before the punch even gets close. He's turning his head, causing the punch to miss so slightly. And that's where Max was able to counter him with a knee to the body. Korean Zombie throws a left hand right afterward, missing the target, and throws a right hook. Max exits out, lets go of the clinch, and able to avoid the punch, while also exiting out to his own left. Open hands again, Korean Zombie's continuing. He throws a left hook to engage, and Max of course blocks the punch, while throwing a check left hook that misses the Korean Zombie. And here's a partial right straight from the Korean Zombie, bounces off the shoulder, glances off the side of the head, and the Korean Zombie enters, hands down, nothing defending himself, walks forward, no setup, and they both crank an overhand at each other. But Max threw it first. So from that glancing shot, Max moves away from the punch and sits on his punch before Korean Zombie throws his, landing the flush right overhand, which KOs the Korean Zombie, but the Korean Zombie actually landed his right hand too. And while he's KO'd, he's throwing the left hook too. It reminds me of what Jose Aldo did when he got knocked out by Conor McGregor. He was able to still throw that left hook on his way to the canvas. And credit to Max here for his defense again, for picking that right hand up even though he connected on the Korean Zombie flush, probably thinking that Korean Zombie was probably going to take that punch and continue as he readied up his defense there. And unlike before where he dropped the Korean Zombie and looked to step away, and you know the Korean Zombie was out cold from that punch because his head just clattered off the canvas. What a crazy flurry. And it just goes to show you Max Holloway's insane defense under such a chaotic scenario. The amount of punches he avoided there was pretty impressive, even against someone like Korean Zombie at his age. But let's look at some of the moments of the fight here. So here we go into the first round, and the Korean Zombie moves forward, throwing a winging right overhand with no setup, actually connecting on Max, who's looking to pull away from the aggression, and he also glances a check left hook on the Korean Zombie. The Korean Zombie tries to follow up with a left hook, switching stances forward, missing target as Max was still pulling away from the aggression. He hits Korean Zombie with a light back fist as he steps away from the follow-up right hand and gets parallel, ready to move out to his own left, away from the fence, and also seeing the Korean Zombie's looping left hook, trying to move with the punch away from it. He does get touched by it, but he is able to move away from it, decreasing any meaningful impact. And he created so much momentum moving out that direction. He tried to catch the Korean Zombie with his own right hook, but just falls short of the punch. It shows you the reach difference between the two fighters. Max has a fairly short reach for his height. He has a 5'9" reach as a 5'11" fighter. And if he had 2 inches on his reach there, he probably would have landed, and this fight may have ended earlier than it did. But take note of that left hook from Max Holloway because he delivers with it again shortly after. So the Korean Zombie does the same thing, moves forward with the overhand with no setup, and he touches Max again with it, getting it over the shoulder. Max's right guard is way better than his left, but but Max was also trying to pull away from the punch as the Korean Zombie shifts forward again. Just like last time, he switches stances after throwing the right overhand, thinking purely offense. And while he's switching forward, he tries to line up Max with the left hook while he also takes an angle off his own right side. Little did he know, Max was going to throw the same check hook again. And because he stepped a little bit to his own right, he actually walked into the left hook, magnifying the damage. Rocked him badly, while also Max was able to pull away from the Korean Zombie's left hook. Beautiful work from Max Holloway, man. Now there is something very similar here. When the Korean Zombie is moving forward, he was getting countered. Not too different with Max actually, so you see here, not too long afterward, Max actually rushes forward. He gives a slight feint by lowering his level and showing his left hand, before darting in with the right straight. And the Korean Zombie turns his body to the side a little bit. The punch from Max misses, and he counters Max with his own left hook behind the ear, and then follows it up with a right hook afterward, where Max actually shifts forward, switches stances into the Korean Zombie, and exits away throwing a right jab. So it's actually very similar. They did very similar things to each other and paid for it in a similar fashion. But the thing is, Max adjusted to this, whereas the Korean Zombie didn't. So what we see from the two fighters are, they are both trigger ready on that counter left hook whenever one of them engages forward. So Max notes that and continues with that in mind. So from the previous exchange, he threw that darting right straight as his first attack. And look what he does this time, knowing that the Korean Zombie is ready to throw his left hook. So he shows his right hand to bait out that left hook, making the Korean Zombie think the same thing is going to happen. And notice they're also in a very similar position in the cage, virtually identical. And here comes the Korean Zombie throwing out that left hook, and Max ducks down and to his own right, getting under the punch. He played the Korean Zombie like a fiddle and catches him with a counter left hook with that one motion, building momentum into the punch. Korean Zombie takes it, pivots to his own left, and tries to intercept Max with the right hand, who's able to fade out that direction, avoiding the punch. Great work from Max Holloway, man. One thing I loved about Max was the way he was feinting to get in a jab from distance. Knowing that he has that reach disadvantage, he creates his window to get in beautifully. So he knows when he throws in the step and jab, he's gonna miss, because the Korean Zombie's gonna move away, knowing that he has his own reach advantage. So Max continues after this, using that step and jab as a mask. He tried to trick the Korean Zombie here. He throws a fake right to the body, as Zombie extends his left hand on Max's shoulder to hold some separation between them two as he's moving away. But from that fake right to the body, Max was able to extend forward with the jab, connecting it clean. He did this another time as well, after dodging Zombie's jab. So Zombie moves forward with a step and jab, and Max leans away. He actually doesn't step away, he just leans back, ready to rebound forward, throwing a jab up top which falls short, and he steps with it to throw that fake right to the body and then darts up to the head with the jab again. Beautiful work from Max. And here's what I talked about in that big flurry in the third. Korean Zombie's combo that he was catching Max with was that right overhand into a darting left, and here's where you see it. But instead of committing with the right overhand, he actually throws a short to fake it, getting Max into motion and focusing on that side. And the fact that he threw it so winging, it's also going to create more caution for Max to focus on that side. And it is a looping punch, which is going to distract Max from the left straight punch that comes down the center as Korean Zombie is switching stances with the punch, connecting it clean. This is one of the biggest punches from the Korean Zombie in the fight. Then we go to another moment. So Max actually fakes a right leg kick. It looks like he's shimming his hands in front of the Korean Zombie, but he actually brings his right hip forward, faking like he's going to throw a kick while also showing his right shoulder. He's giving him the tell that a leg kick is coming. And while bringing his right hip forward, he's going to be dragging his right foot and using that fake not only to get the Korean Zombie to check, but also using it as a big step forward with both feet. He brings both feet forward to cover distance as quickly as possible. And while the Korean Zombie's looking to check, notice how he angles his left leg outward, is going to cause Zombie to plant himself and not move back fast enough. This reaction signaled Max to fire right away. So he's going to throw it right straight, but he doesn't extend forward with it. He actually hops with both of his feet right into the Korean Zombie in order to put all of his weight behind the punch. Look how he does this. Hops forward with all of his body weight right behind the punch, sits on it so much, and this is the reason why it blew the Korean Zombie back the way it did. There was so much force because Max hopped behind his right hand, and Max continues, giving out the same feint again. Brings forward his right hip and right shoulder to make it look like he's going to throw a leg kick, but this time the Korean Zombie does not bite on it. The time he reacts is when Max moves forward after that, extending his left hand. The Korean Zombie looks to parry it with his own right and to deliver with a check left hook. But look how Max was 2 steps ahead. He didn't throw out a right hand. He didn't continue after the feint with punches. He actually now used that left in order to set up his right kick to the body. So he started by faking a kick, then faked his punch in order to deliver with the same side kick after. Max is so good, man. Now here's a moment in the first round where Korean Zombie almost got Max good. If this punch landed, I don't even know what would have happened, because Max does have a legendary chin, but the way that the Korean Zombie threw this and fell short so slightly would have gotten me worried. So Zombie moves forward with the jab. He does connect it and he follows through by ducking under Max's counter left jab. He's in a pretty cautious position, so he fades away from Max, knowing that Max is going to move forward on him. Max attempts to chase him down with a jab, which misses, but he does follow through with the right straight, connecting it to the body. But look how he gets off his right foot. This is very uncharacteristic for Max Holloway. He really tried to connect something on Korean Zombie here. He got a bit too reckless, way overextended on the punch. And the Korean Zombie hops back away, still getting touched by the body punch, sits back, throwing a huge right hook. The mother of all right hooks. Was trying to draw Max into that punch, looking to KO him, and he just misses as Max pulled away his head. That was such a scary exchange for Max Holloway, because we know the Korean Zombie has crazy power, and he almost drew Max Holloway into one of the biggest punches he would have taken in his career. But Max's instincts kicked in, man. He was able to pull his head away from that punch right on time. And when we speak of Korean Zombie almost getting him good, there was a time Max almost got Korean Zombie good in the second round. So Korean Zombie moves forward with the jab, which Max pulls away from, and you see something very, very similar. Korean Zombie follows through by ducking. Max tries to counter him with the left jab, and instead of trying to chase him down with the 1-2, Max throws an uppercut and just falls short. If this would have landed, the fight probably would have been over. Korean Zombie was able to fade away from the punch. He did the exact same motion he did last time and got himself away. And he got the better of the exchange because he touched Max with the left hook very slightly as he moved away. Max adjusts to this later and actually finds success. So Zombie does the same thing again for the third time. Throws a jab, follows through with a duck under Max Holloway's counter jab, tries to fade away, but Max completely expected it and lands a right straight. This was such an incredibly fast right straight. You can actually miss it seeing it in real time, because look how early he fires it. The punch lands on the Korean Zombie while his left hand is still out there. This reminds me a lot of what Nate Diaz used to do sometimes. And then when we look at that knockdown, how did Max set this up? This was a clean combination from Max. So he pumps his lead hand forward before stepping in with a jab to the body. Body jabs are a great way to start a combination or some kind of engagement on the opponent. Korean Zombie does what he always does. He pulls away and tries to counter him with the left hook. And notice how he gets off of his lead foot, so you know he's sitting still. All of his weight is on his back foot, and even where Max is looking to continue the combo, he's still very light on his lead foot. He only has his toes on the floor. Max throws a jab up top which grazes, and follows through with a right straight that glances behind the ear as Korean Zombie was moving slightly forward, and this hurts him badly, man. Max doesn't want to throw any more punches. This really told me that he may have had a bit of a soft spot for Korean Zombie. You know, everybody thought, Max was probably not going to take it too hard on him, and this seemed to be one of those moments. He definitely would not have done this to Volk. If he dropped Volk like this, he absolutely would have tried to finish him. But the fact that he was fighting the Korean Zombie at his older age, with all the damage he's taken, he's such a legend of the sport, and even after the fight, you did see Max give so much admiration to the guy. It looked like he gave him mercy. Then we see Max go into the same thing again. He enters with a jab to the body. This time he doesn't fake his hand up top, showing a bit more confidence, and Korean Zombie knew where to target this time. He throws a check left hook, but he throws it downward. Still misses. Max was still able to duck under it. He rises up, connects with a jab. It looks like he only glances the right straight on the chin, as Zombie's looking to counter him with his own right overhand. Max was able to dodge the punch, pivot on the outside, and Zombie follows through with a left hook that actually lands. Caught Max completely off guard. Max exits out with a slapping left hook. Here's some more beautiful feinting work and defense from Max, and gives a very telling look like he was going to throw a right straight. He puts all of his weight on his front leg, flares out his right elbow, shows his right fist, moving forward at the Korean Zombie, weight off of his right foot, and Korean Zombie looks to counter him with a check left hook. Max knows this from seeing it time and time again. He ducks under the punch and gets himself on the outside while switching stances. It was all a fake. He schooled the Korean Zombie here, knowing that Zombie was going to overextend on that left hook, and he overextends leaning forward into Max's follow-up left hook that connects on him with the wrist. And I do love the way that Max throws his spinning back kick. He likes to hop with it. So he spins for the spinning back kick and he actually lifts off his supporting leg into the opponent, increasing the power. It is a bit risky because you could definitely mess up throwing this. And that's ultimately the end of the breakdown, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to give this a like, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.